Good afternoon, VV Nation. How are we doing today? My name is Ryan. Welcome to the channel. All right, it's just me. Joey and Clay are out for the holiday week. You can see I'm already starting off pretty rough with the iPad not connected. But how's everybody doing today? Happy New Year's. The alert should just be hitting in just a moment here. We'll give everyone some time to make their way into the room here. All right, Pennywise, thank you for joining the VV Insider Nation, by the way. We got CP Dell, also, Captain Daniel. Sorry, I actually read that out. Also, welcome to the VV Nation Insider here. We got Jake. Happy New Year's to you as well. Right as Rains, Kara Blue. Hey, Kara, how are we doing today? Happy Friday. Roxar, HNY. What's HNY? ABB. Santa is coming. Santa late to I think Santa might be a little late, right? We'll see what happens. But just looking at the major indices here, I mean, that NASDAQ, giving up that gap up, I see, if we take a look at the NASDAQ real quick while we're picking on it, let's go to the 1 day. This right here, this little first touch, that was where the gap was, right? That's the gap fill. Talked about that before. If you're a day trader, usually a nice little pivot can occur right around the gap fill if you're looking at the NASDAQ or, QQQ especially. It looks like we're actually below the open now. If we just go to a 1 week here, let's see. Yep, there we go. Had the gap fill right there. There's the pivot off this morning. Or if you followed money to the downside, if you're a day trader, hey, I talk about that quite a bit in the Qs. But look at this. Now we got rejection from the upper end, from the lower end. We got rejection from the top. That rejection right coming out, looks like yesterday's close, right? Yesterday's close. Not exactly. We want to see. HUI is at the 20-day EMA. Yeah, Huey, I've said it before, it's a little overextended. Gold, I've been looking at on the GLD. I reuse it, but I said it earlier this week. Gold, silver, buckle up. It's going to be a ride. I'm still going to be bullish that we finished 2026 higher on both those commodities than where we started. But how much higher? That's a lot of varying factors there, right? A lot of factors varying. But just look at the NASDAQ. I'm not falling for that, little gap up trick. Now we're on the downside of the gap. Please don't fall for that this Friday. If it comes back later this afternoon, we'll see what happens. But just looking at, our market timing signals, the confirmed down. Ollie G, hi Ryan, everyone. Happy New Year's to everybody. Did the alert hit, by the way? Again, I don't have Joey or Clay here. Hopefully it hit. Yep, I see it hit. Perfect. Micron and UAMY. I figured that gets some of y'all in the room, right? If I could hug MU, I'd do it. You're telling me. You are telling me. And my mom's MU position's all jacked up with her financial advisor. Like I said, we're going to get her off of that. She's been busy. She's at the ski slope right now. But if you didn't hear, she didn't even fill the entire position yet after the dip. I don't know. We'll have to fix that out. Well, good day for me on both UAMY and MU. Made huge today. Already sold to book profit. There we go, Ollie G. Because again, we're at the top of the channel. We came back. Talking about UAMY here. Came back, right? Pivoted right above the other pivot, right? And that support zone I've been talking about on UAMY. So we'll see. I didn't add any UAMY today. My first purchase was in the low fours, so I'm pretty happy with that. My 2026 portfolio. We'll see. Ollie G, MU CEO is a genius. I'm telling you, MU, that's, let alone the CEO. You just think about the valuation and how big of a project they have going on in New York. Yeah, I mean, bullshit. I just talked to my cousin earlier today. He's saying he needs to buy more MU. And I don't know if we're going to get a dip back to the low twos on MU. Ideally, that'd be nice to get my mom back. That was the goal, but her financial advisor messed that up. Again, that's why I love VectorVest. Teaches you how to do it, right? 2026 is not going to be different than any other year in the past. You want someone to handle your money with the best care, you better learn how to do it yourself, right? Better learn how to do it yourself. Rick, taco trade again. We'll see what goes on with the taco trade again. That's why I have not given my last position here. I jump back into MU. Yeah, Pennywise, I see the confirmation on MU. If it comes back to the low twos, who knows, but we'll see. I'm gonna be a buyer. I'm gonna get I got a lot of family that owns MU. A lot of family that owns MU. Yes, Alfredo, let's get rich together. I've been pretty transparent. Last year, I paid off a ton of debt. This year, making moves. I did good with my my day trades and my options, but this year I'm ready to really put some money behind my own picks, right? So that's what it comes down to. TSM is flying as well. It's funny you talk about that. Me and my cousin are always about TSM too, right? Any dips in those companies, I like, and I trust them more than the broader semiconductor space. But, again, semiconductors, I've said it before, they have a lot of max drawdown. If you ever look at Micron, TSM, NVIDIA, the big ones, put it on a 10-year chart. Look at the max drawdown. These companies can have a lot of max drawdown here. So just, keep that in mind. If you want to hold them through, those, the peaks and troughs, that's up to you. UAMY, still good to buy. I'm not going to say it's not good to buy. But again, you've seen it. It is volatile. It is volatile. The fact that the value is rising. And I was looking at another article when it comes to UAMY. I actually wonder if I screenshot it. I can maybe send it, or at least read it to you. No, I didn't. I don't think I screenshotted it. But it was pretty much saying that, the antimony is one thing, but the magnets, right? It's all about the magnets. Anyways, I probably should do another UAMY video here soon. And see what's going on with that. We'll see. But I like it as a rare earth play. MP, some of the other ones, just way overvalued. Sticking to the VectorVest metrics as much as possible. I see that there's opportunities, overvalued stocks, but me personally, I love VectorVest valuation. I love the VectorVest valuation to a T. Let's see here. UAMY, still good buy. All right, let's get into it. Markets, they're pretty mixed right now. Looks like the NASDAQ trying to hold at the gap. S&P just below the gap as well, trying to hold. The broad market, look at this. Dow Jones actually started below yesterday's, or it's been Wednesday's close. You can see the dotted line here. It's actually moving the right direction. So is the VectorVest Composite, right? The broader market, Interesting. I do like that here. I wish I would have just held it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Kathy? I wish I would have just held it when I bought it really cheap. I'm practically in the backyard of the new factory. Which factory, Kathy? Which company are you speaking of? I'm curious. What company are you speaking of? Have you live in New York or Idaho? What's the other state? There's a couple of states, but those are two big ones. Oh, MU, are you in New York? You in New York? And shoot, if that's your backyard, you can expect more and more of those fabs popping up over the next 10 years. I mean, there's a whole facility, whole section of fabs here. Bath, okay, yeah, okay, mid-state. Yeah, you're going to see that. To be honest, your real estate, I don't know if you own your house, but it might go up because of that, right? It might go up because of that. I bought half of my position of all my 2026 stocks. I'm waiting for a dip to buy the other half. Alfredo, I'm not going to lie. That's kind of where I've been at. If you've noticed my portfolio, and obviously I have to manage Glenn's. He's not here. We still got cash, right? We still got cash. We'll see what happens. I'm not sold. Primary wave is down right now. I see primary wave is down. I'm not going to be a buyer, right? I loaded up into some high quality stocks, Glenn's picks as well, which a lot of those I like as well. Defensive. Let's see here. Well, Pennywise, I'm not going to say the first word, but VV has MU valued at 473, and even Ask Seeking Alpha gives the current valuation at an A-. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. What I told my cousin earlier, because he said he was going to buy some more, so I gave him my opinion, since he always gives me my opinion, that as long as the market doesn't go to crap, we got more tit for tat for China, because obviously that didn't work out too well last year than the tariff thing, right? Wouldn't be surprised to see Micron $450 to $500 by the end of this year. If everything goes well with the economy and just AI and a lot of things can change, right? A lot of things can change, but if things run smooth, I mean, yeah, I could see $450, $500 by the end of the year. We'll see, especially as they break ground on more of these fabs and things like that. Well, guess what? What's that going to do? You're going to see it in a front page, a front headline of CNBC. And it's probably going to cause the stock to go up. Micron, it's MU could be the stock of 2026. Alex, I'm telling you right now, it was one of the first stock picks, or one of the first. Well, I did my speculative ones first, Iron, UAMY, which I had to just because, the chart pattern, I had to put this out a little bit quicker. I still like it. Well, I'm back into the stock. Time to let my winners run. Yeah, Pennywise. That's it. Let's see here. SanDisk was the top S&P 500 stock 2025. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see here. Good thing about MU is that they're not relying on China sales. They are totally out of it. China invades Taiwan, MU can benefit more. Well, to a degree. I don't think there's going to be many benefits if there's a full-scale invasion over Taiwan, right? Or even a blockade. I'm not going to speculate on anything like that, but if you're holding semis or just stocks in general, just be careful in case that were to happen. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not going to say it's not. We all know what's going on in the news right now. Is NVIDIA going to lead or follow MU? They're different. So Taiwan is, I'm not going to say it's very important. It's probably our most important trading partner. If you think about it, just put it this way. If we couldn't get exports, we couldn't get chips from China, and 90, you can Google it, 80, 90% plus AI chips come from Taiwan. We can't get those chips. Causes a problem, right? Big problem. Taiwan is very important. Right? Very, very important. More importantly, TSM, all right? If TSM wasn't based in Taiwan, it was based in another country, we would probably have a little bit different discussion, right? A little bit different of a discussion. NVIDIA will be a ping pong again this year, range bound. We'll see. One thing I do like about NVIDIA, the valuation is still soaring. TSM expanding in Arizona, correct, which is dangerous for Taiwan. It's dangerous for Taiwan. I'm not going to get into that, but it just makes sense, right? If Taiwan brings all their important manufacturing to the States, well, guess what? Logically, we're less likely to protect them. So, they're dragging their feet, right? They're dragging their feet bringing that stuff over there, and I don't necessarily blame them. But hey, we'll see what happens with that whole Taiwan thing. Just know if something happens to the island, if there actually is a conflict, that's going to create a lot of havoc, right? A lot of havoc. There's no catalyst for NVIDIA, plenty for MU. I want to say there's not a catalyst for NVIDIA. I want to say that. NVIDIA still undervalued. Yeah. No, I like it. I like it, NVIDIA as well. Glenn chose NVIDIA. I chose TSM. Right? TSM is an important company, let alone the island, but TSM itself, very important, right? I love TSM today. We have a friend who is looking to work at Arizona plant. TSM, excited for him. Nice. I know Glenn's, I think his son-in-law, works for ASML out there, which you just talked about that. Because for some reason I was under the impression he worked for TSM. No, it was ASML they worked for. But all of his training was at TSM plants, which makes sense because that's where their technology goes to, is their manufacturing, right? But just looking at this, because I was thinking, we'll see what happens. But the only thing up right now is the DEW. That's the only thing up. The confirmed call signal is down. Green light's neutral right now. Primary wave is down. So just keep note of that, okay? Just keep note of that. I hold both NVIDIA and TSM along with MU. But Pennywise, I'm telling you, that's a powerhouse of those three. I'm sure a lot of people, just thinking about my own family's portfolios and cousins and aunts and my mom. Those three stocks are powerhouses, right? Any kind of semiconductor exposure. I mean, other than a broad ETF, something like a SOX, VanEck, ETF, something like that. These are the holdings right here: NVIDIA, TSM, MU. Those would be my three, top three as far as more conservative or prudent picks, you could say, right? Now, if you want to go speculative, you want to sprinkle some fun in with these semiconductors, that's on you, and that really just speaks on your own risk tolerance, right? But if I'm going to try to pick, safer semiconductors in 2026, these three would be leading the charge here: NVIDIA, TSM, and MU. And clearly I believe that because two of the three are in my 2026 portfolio. And Glenn's got the other one, NVIDIA, right? Kara Blue, look at this. VectorVest paid for itself in less than a month. Very happy. Thank you, Kara. Thank you. Man, that's a strong statement right there. That's a strong statement. Everyone talks about the cost of VectorVest, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it takes money to make money, right? Takes money to make money, especially if you really want to be on the right side of the market. You know, in today's world, where fad and hype and all this stuff tends to drown out the good stock candidates. Hey, VectorVest is a great way to bring logic in 2026. When do you know you have made enough and need to exit? You're talking about an individual stock price. Me, I usually let the chart do that for me. And my goals. If you look at the chart will tell you everything you need to know, Jack. And maybe I need to go do a video more into that. Roger says TSM, NVIDIA, and what else? Micron. Micron's my other holding. Next live at 2 p.m. today is going to be the Power Hour. It's dual streamed today. We both got well, if I do it right, because I don't have Joey and Clay here, but it should be dual streamed, both YouTube and the community room this afternoon. We could go a little bit in my 2026 portfolio, but more importantly, I'm going to go to your stock picks. All right. We're going to go on your stock picks. Trailing stops help take away emotions. Alex, that's my favorite type of stop, is a trailing stop. Right? Trailing stop. And the reason why, especially with momentum stocks, or if you're swing trading, right? As the stock goes up, your little trail kind of locks in, right? Locks in. So if the trade goes against you at some point, at least you're locking in something, right? And the other scenario is that you open up a trade and it just goes poopy right out the gate. You locked out real quick. You got to stop real quick. I like trailing stop. I'm not going to say that's the best stop for everybody and every stock. Every position is different. But generally speaking, I like trailing stops. Because if you look at it this way, say you do like a simple gain loss, right? Say I do a 30% gain, 10% loss. Pretty average gain loss stop. That stock can go 28% and come crashing back down, right? It doesn't lock in anything, right? Until you hit the 30. A trailing stop, where at least, the trade was working and then it starts to fall apart, at least you try to lock out or, lock in some profits, right? But just generally speaking, I like trailing stop. If you've never tried it, again, I try not to be too salesy on here, but the Profit Locker Pro, it's a customizable trailing stop, and it's kind of like the first AI stop out there. Maybe a precursor to AI, but it is a phenomenal stop. It's called Profit Locker Pro. So you can adjust all kinds of things in it. Some of you may have it in here. If you do and you like it, talk about it in the comment section. Otherwise, I'm sure there's a link on our. It is an additional add-on, and it really comes down to your portfolio size, right? If you got a smaller portfolio, the extra, I think, build to get there. Trust me, I know that. I'm young too. We got to build to get there, to spend money to make money, right? But if you got a $100,000 portfolio or more, I'm telling you right now, at least the trial is probably worth it. But we'll see. You guys seem nice, but I prefer leaning on my own due diligence. I don't like the big caps. As a nobody without too much ting-ting, I prefer low caps. Just beware of liquidity. Well, let alone liquidity, but volatility as well. Volatility as well, right? And I think everyone should do their own due diligence. If I do a video on a stock, and because I see the stats, most of you don't even finish the video. But especially if you don't finish the video and you go out there and buy a stock and actually hear everything I had to say, just make sure you do your own due diligence, right? Make sure you do your own due diligence. Are you going to show yours and Glenn's 2026 specs? Yes, we've already done some videos on it. Probably not this live, just because we're doing the mobile app right now. But 2 p.m. when we do Power Hour, we can get into them. We're both up, and we're still sitting. He's about a third in cash. I'm about just shy of half still in cash. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, we're going to continue these buys with momentum or, some calculated dips. But after today, I've got 2 weeks to finish these portfolios. And from there, we're going to let them ride. We ain't going to have no stops. So me and Glenn, we're going to ride or die with these positions, just like he had to in 2024 and 2025, which he did beat or did perform over 20% both years, which pretty good. Pretty good. Don't buy too quick, Ryan. Oh, I'm not buying right now. You see this? Confirmed down. I've said it before. The BSR being below this long, now we're approaching maybe closer to 2 months with a confirmed down situation. Let's take a look here while we're talking about it. I've been talking about the month, but now, what is it here? This is the confirmed down. 11.6. We ain't that far from January 6th. How about I said December? Ryan, if you had $5,000, where would you put that today or hold on to cash? Jim, I would not be in a rush to buy positions right now. I would tell you that. Just when the VectorVest software is going to tell you that. But tiptoe. Don't go all in on anything. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but you see my 2026 picks. You got to ask yourself what your risk tolerance is. People's age, your age could obviously, impact on what type of stocks you're looking for. So, what I would do with $5,000, Jim, ain't the same what you're going to do with $5,000, right? I mean, you got to understand, I day trade DOE options. So you're talking about me a max risk level here. That's about as risky as you can get. Not all semiconductors are great investment. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Not all semis are great investments. Not all stocks are great investments, Can the power hour be viewed later on? Will be it'll be in the community room. Typically those lives are saved, I think like 2 weeks. I think they're up there for 2 weeks. So again, the power hour today will be both in the community room. So you have to have VectorVest 7, not just 7, but all kinds of VectorVest subscriptions to get you access to the community room, at least to the power hour stage. And then it's also gonna be streamed on YouTube. So definitely check that out here. All right. I just subbed. Keep it up. Oh, you subbed? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We go off the subs here. And we're about to hit 80,000 subs soon. So that is something to celebrate in 2026. The VectorVest community about to reach 80,000 active subscribers on the YouTube channel. So thank you again to everyone who supports the channel. And again, I got one goal, and that is to try to teach you and make you money. That's it. But the teaching is more important. The teaching is more important because I could show you a stock, I could show you a trade, pivots and moving averages and market timing signal, DEW, but you really got to, put it in there. Free coffee mugs at 80,000. Free coffee. I'll tell you what, I know we got some coffee mugs back there, but I don't know if we got 80,000 of them. Maybe we should do something. I got to talk to the team. Like I said, they're out today, but we should do something to celebrate that. That's huge. 80,000 member family. I love it. Why the disconnect between silver and Shanghai to this extreme? I haven't researched that, Mr. Biker, Mr. Mex Biker. I like these names. Alex, people ask me why isn't VectorVest more popular and why don't a lot of people use it? I say because people don't want to put work into anything. Alex, done hit it on the head. And I'll be honest, yeah, our VV7 doesn't look as cool and have all these bells and whistles as some of the other software, but we're not concerned about giving you all that crap. I'm concerned about giving you the tools you need to make money, right? And if you look at the new MLP software, Alex, that actually addresses that problem, right? Instead of, we understand a lot of people don't want to put the time in and learn it. And trust me, if you do, it's going to be worth it. My mom's finding that out the hard way right now. I've been trying to tell her, but no, she's making the right move in the right direction, right? Mug when sign up for training class. What do you mean by that? Oh, mug when you sign. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. But yeah, that being said here, let's get back to it here. Market timing is saying, hey, if you want to buy stocks today, you can. I'm not in a rush to. I'm not going to buy any stocks in my 2026 portfolio. I see the Dow Jones climbing. I see the VectorVest composite climbing here. Let's scroll down. Here we got the color guard. Today it's at 77.33. Even with the optimism today, it's still lower than it was 5 days ago. So the primary wave is still down. Why not hold semiconductor ETFs to be safer side? Oh, I did mention that. I said, yeah, unless you're going to go into like a broad market, they got the VanEck, the SOX, whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's probably going to be your safest bet, golden child. And then honestly, I mean, ETFs typically are going to be safer than, it's like like REMX, right? The rare earth ETF, right? Think about it. Rare earth, they're all over the place, right? Yeah, there could be some good opportunities there. Obviously, I talk about UAMY quite a bit, but they're volatile, right? So yeah, if you want to reduce volatility, whether it's semiconductors, quantum, rare earth, whatever. They got ETFs on everything. It generally speaking, it's going to be safer, right? Obviously, you look at the holdings because that's going to determine some of that safety net. But yeah, being spread out in a basket of ETFs, not a bad way. The only hindrance of that is if one stock shoots up, you're not going to get that, benefit from it, right? Because you're going to be diversified, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. It all comes down to your risk tolerance, right? Some people really risk it. Some people are stages in their life where they're not willing to risk it, right? You got to answer that question. That's not a question I can answer. But just going back to this color guard here, VectorVest Composite still struggling since Christmas, right? MTI, it's actually trending lower at 0.92. Look at that. BSR, 0.62. The BSR, almost 2 months now in unfavorable territory. And actually, you know what? Let me put y'all onto something here. I remember something. Something just came up to me. No. We're going back here. Let's go 5 years. Let's go in here real quick. So do you remember this area right here? That's the beginning of 2025, right? Look what happened at the beginning of last year. Look at this. The confirmed up situation, it was down for a while. It didn't come up till, what is this? May 12th. May 12th. Let's go back here. Let's X this out. That is the confirmed call. If we go to 5 years, I don't know if yeah, here we go. It was down December 9th, right? That is what a prolonged confirmed situation can look at. Not every confirmed down is going to be the end of the world or, a huge major market sell-off, but prolonged confirmed down situations do have me more of a, as you can say, like my spidey senses are tingling, right? Something's not right. Something's not right. And the BSR is showing me that, right? For the same reason, what is your take on oil in 2026? For the same reason, nuclear and other energy stocks. It's going to be the same on, oil is rough. I have to look at the charts. But oil, I've said it before the last few weeks, there's been opportunities with oil, but they've been slim, right? They've been slim recently. We went over some oil stocks last week. We could do that today if we got some time here. But that confirmed down situation being a down, that for this long, that's what I'm worried about, right? If we go to a 1 month, 3 months, let's go 3 months here. Here's the confirmed down, right? November 6th, we got a little bit of a rally here. Clearly, this is the MTI was at 0.6, right? And we're talking about, some swing trading, some bottom fish. It wasn't really much of a bottom because we're still within 5% of the major indices, the highs of the major indices. But we did get a little slingshot going on the holidays, right? And guess what? Stalled out again right around these confirmed call levels. So just be careful with the market right now. Again, VectorVest does not advocate buying any stocks at this time. That ain't my opinion. I'm not just saying that because I want to. But that's what the color guard is telling me right now, right? When is the right time to buy into MU? Dave, we've been talking about MU for a while. But we'll have to take a look at the chart here. They're definitely at the right time was when it was. Oh God, I think it broke out. The first trade setup was around 120. The video I did. We could take a look at it right now. I'm really nervous with my portfolio up bigly and the market looking super poopy. Boy, that's what I'm worried about too, John. And if people are going to start taking profits, today's probably going to be the first day to do it, right? And we see the NASDAQ struggling. It looks like the NASDAQ is where the profit taking is going, right? Which I'm not surprised because people who buy MU, a lot of these other companies are up big. They got to sell them and redivest or, keep a little cash, wait. Some of them may not wait because most people are impatient, right? And then they got to diversify into other little stocks, Looks like MU still has a lot to remember. I'm going to say it does too. Actually, while we're all talking about MU, might as well just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. 307, that's a monster. Put this out there, me, I don't like to be a buzzkill or anything, but one thing I will say, I hate being a buzzkill. This is what I would do. You see these little trends, these swing highs here, boom, 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 boom. They look like they would form, actually, a trend line. And we're probably going to approach this trend line again on the upside. So if you want to look at a potential target for Micron in the short term, just from me, a swing trader perspective here, I would connect these tops of this trend here and that take a line and draw it out. You won't be able to do it on this one here, but you can do it on other VectorVest platforms. Let's take a look at that. Remind me when we get to power hour. Ascending channel might be, draw the lines on there. You know me, I've been really homing in on my channels lately. You know, my big chart book here. I ain't gonna lie to you too much. It's been the holidays the last 2 weeks, so I haven't read it too much. But that's a goal in 2026. I want to know more about these channels because I don't know if it's always been this way, but I feel like some of the best trades out there are when you can identify an undervalued stock chasing value to the upside in an ascending channel. That's just me personally, right? We've seen it a lot. A lot of some good stock trades have come from this perspective over in 2025. So I want to brush up on some channels here. And there's different kinds of channels, all kinds of channels here. That book's like 1,000 pages. I think there's probably about 100 pages on channels. So we'll see. What do you think about silver considering JPM and other banks having big short positions? I did see that. And I think they're shorting it based on chart patterns in the past. But all that has to come down to is, you know, is China going to release the silver, right? Because China, I think I Googled it, but China, I can Google it right now, but I think it's around 60% of the silver market. Let's just see here. What percent of the market does China silver? Let's see here. China's so kind of about 10-15% of global mine production. About, yeah, that's close. 60 to 70% of the world's refined or globally traded silver supply. So if they're not going to play nice with the U.S., I don't know. Those silver prices might hold. Paper silver at $75. Physical silver trading above $100. Interesting. Ryan, today I added options tool of VectorVest after big profits from UAMY. There we go. Ollie G, that's one of the smartest things I've ever heard in the comment section. Do you know what he did? He took profits from the channel. I don't know if you got, just based on those two stock picks, I'm going to say from the channel, and reinvested them in his knowledge. The options tool. I imagine you're talking about Options Pro. You talking about Options Pro, Ollie G? Ryan, can you do a session on channels or where should I look? Hey, that's not a bad idea, Jim. I'm thinking a video on channels should be a near video. And I will say this, there is going to be changes to the scheduling of videos, the live streams, the 6 p.m.s. I have to look for the paper. It's not going to change too much. Where did the paper go? And the reason why, it's because, clearly Glenn ain't going to come back as soon as we would like. I'm not saying he's not, so please don't freak out. But I want to make sure I'm giving you guys high quality videos. So pumping out a video every night, that ain't high quality, which I've been doing pretty good at it, right? But the new schedule, it looks like 6 p.m. is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Fridays. The lives, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think is going to be the schedule here. We'll have to confirm with Clay and Joey. But this way, because I got to learn more, right? The more I learn, the better stock trades I can give you, the better knowledge I can give you, the better guidance in the VectorVest software I can give you, right? So we'll see. MU left station until there's a pullback. Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely left station. I mean, look at that value. The value, it keeps ticking up. Earnings per share keeps ticking up. The only thing I'm going to say is if you draw a line on the top of these little guys here, boom, boom, those two lines, see where that line takes you. That would be my first profit target because I'd imagine, again, I don't have a crystal ball, price action is going to hit that line. And we're going to get two things, right? Either we're going to get another parabolic move on the upside. We want to see you on Fridays. Interesting. There are a couple other things, though, in the works. I know there's been a lot of, people asking, join the jockey club. I think that's going to be the goal. I got to learn the jockey club, and I got to spend 2 hours every morning watching the jockey club to see what Steve's doing. And I respect Steve Chappell. That man is phenomenal, right? He is a phenomenal trader. He's a very smart individual, and hopefully I can, follow that footstep there, right? Follow that footstep. So we'll see. So there's going to be some big changes, but don't worry, I'm still going to be here. And we're still going to make some money in 2026. That is the goal. I already set up alerts at prices under 300 for when MU dips. Look, Pennywise already preying on the dip. And I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped back below 300 at some point. We'll see. Nice level support I see, though, which we never retested, is this level right here. Which doesn't necessarily tell me. What was the high? Let's go. What was this high here? 255. We never retested that level. So I'm going to say that's my greedy level. If you're trying to be greedy on Micron, you wait for a pivot here. And just look at the moving averages. Look, we've got the 40 and the 50-day simple moving averages going right into the zone here. So if there's any profit taking on Micron, who knows what will happen over the week or two. I've said it before, though, but when you see major moving averages moving into a support zone, we'll see what happens. But yeah, 255, 260. If it comes back down, I'll probably, text mom, let her know. Ryan, how is Glenn doing? Glenn is doing phenomenal. Obviously, a stroke is no joke, as we all know. But man, that man's spirit just won't die, and I love him to death. And all we got, I don't know if he's coming back. I know that there's some things in the work. I know next week he's gonna be here. Hopefully, we're gonna make a little video, see where he's at, right? See where he's at. Don't worry, we're not publishing or nothing, but see where he's at. I'm not gonna put too much pressure on him. His health is my number one concern right now. And I'm sure he's probably getting dying to get out the house, right? Because when I saw him last weekend, he loved it. So I love Glenn to death, but his health is my number one concern right now. If he comes back to the office whenever, hey, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Glenn is a stubborn old Marine. A stroke can't keep him. Hey, if that ain't the truth, I love Glenn to death, but if that ain't the truth, though, but I will say, hey, he might be stubborn, Pennywise, but he did realize, he hasn't smoked a cigarette since the incident, since then. So. Love him to death. What do you think about MLI? Is that Melly? Is that one that's in the ascending channel? Because if that's Melly, that's like just a beautiful chart here. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Molar. That's what it is. Molar, not Melly. Molar. This is beautiful. Ascending channel. It looks like you're at the bottom of the channel now. So if you're looking for a ping when you're supposed to ping kind of thing, draw some trend lines on there, right? Hopefully it pings off of it. But yeah, if it breaks that trend line that we've tested, looks like twice so far, just looking at this chart right here. And honestly, look at that. Actually, look at this. Right at the bottom of both of these, the bottom of that trend, the 40 and 50 are staying right there. Look at the value. I mean, other than Micron, this is a killer stock. I know it's not going to have the news, as much hype as maybe Micron, but look at that chart. Look at the earnings. Look at the value. Love it. I love it. I made profit on UAMY and MU because of Ryan. Thank you, Ollie G. Thank you. And yes, Options Pro. There you go. There you go. Hey, everyone's got different, portfolio size. I'm not going to lie. Options Pro is $250 a month. But that thing can make you a lot more money than that, right? And Ollie G, I will say this. One thing you should look at is on the chart. Maybe I'll do a video on it, but there's this feature here. You can add option value pricing where it takes, historical compared to implied volatility. Just let you know if you get a good deal on an option in general. That tool itself can make you money because most people don't know how to necessarily price an option premium, right? And it's not easy to do that. It's not necessarily easy to do that with here. Glenn and I had major health issues, totally different, occur about the same time. I've bounced back, but still need work. I'm guessing same for him. Keith, other than him itching to get out of the house, me and Joe be going to work with him, and hopefully we can. 6 p.m. Yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Monday stream I will get all this information definitively, and we're going to put out, the new schedule. Everybody know what's up here, but just let you know, 6 p.m. videos, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, so that way I can kick you off right in the week, right? On Monday, Tuesday, bam, finish you up in the week, right? On Friday. The lives start off Monday, Wednesday, we're not going to lose that one, trending Thursday. Fridays, we are going to be dropping this stream here. I think as early as next Friday. So I don't know if the stream will be here next Friday. But I will still be a backup for that and Power Hour. I like Power Hour. So we're gonna, we're trying some new things in 2026. But don't worry, we're still gonna be here to help you get through everything. But look at MLI, beautiful stock here. Beautiful stock. I like it. Real quick before I get some of your stock picks, let's just see here. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go to screener. Let's go featured screens. We're going to take a look at these here. Best stock. Let's do prudent picks. Kind of best of both worlds, right? Not quite, speculative, aggressive, not quite too conservative. You want the best of both worlds, right? You want price appreciation with, hopefully a little safety, right? Micron, at the top of Micron feels like it's at the top of every list, right? See, I use that tool all the time. Nice. Oh, the option value thing. I like the Options Pro tool. It is cool. A lot of important news pending next couple of weeks. Yes, I could see that. A dip always happens. There's always a dip, right? Any word on International Forum on Saturdays? Will they continue on the first Saturday? Badger, that's more the education side of things. But as far as I know, they are not getting rid of that. There's no talks to get rid of that. Nothing like that, right? If Trump, I don't like reading political comments. Let's see here. What you got? If Trump wins on tariffs, there will be a temporary pullback. Overreaction means a big pullback. I'm praying that to load up on MU. I'm not going to get a Trump's tariffs. What is your take on Broadcom? Actually, is Broadcom in here? It broke that ascending channel to the downside, retested it. Let's see here. Oh, look, I got a couple picks here. So this one is also a 2026 pick, and I didn't forget Broadcom. I'll get back to it. Ooh, is that the... I might have to load up on that because I'm not going to get too many opportunities here. So again, I only have 2 weeks, but this retest from this pivot here, I think it's the top of that candlestick. What's the high? 1682. Today's low. Yeah, it was close to it. 1723. It's pretty close to it. Pretty close to it. The market could react bullish to the tariffs. I think so. I will miss mobile app focus. Marvin, we're not going to get, well, I'm going to say we're not going to get rid of mobile app focus. But yeah, as far as I know, this live stream maybe cut. And I might use, we might use the mobile app on some of the other live streams. I think, getting exposure to the mobile app is a good idea. International Forum will be on the second Saturday this month. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Let me just highlight that comment real quick. That makes sense because of the holiday. Right? Let's see here. Oh man, this is the one that might potential buyout target on Poet. This Coherent group here. This is a semiconductor company. And someone did mention on the Photonics video that, hey, VectorVest advocates undervalued stocks. And they called me out and said none of these stocks qualify. That is true. And I've talked about it, I think last week or before. Just about every video is focused on value. So I 100% respect our valuation, right? But there are some things, you can look at for overvalued stocks just because, they still have potential. Like RV above 1, right? Life and value, things like that. And maybe I should dive in a little bit deeper in a 6 p.m. video or something. The Stock Trader's Almanac includes politics as a stock driver. You shy away from addressing this. Your thoughts, please. Because I'm at work, James. I'm at work, and that's why I shy away from politics. Hey, all I know is doesn't matter if Republicans in office or Democrats in office. It is what it is, and we just got to adjust our portfolios accordingly. That's probably the most politically neutral answer to that, I get, right? Let's see here. One good option trade per month can give me 10x price of option. Yeah. It also depends how much your portfolio is, right? Again, if you only have a $10,000 portfolio, hey, I respect it. You got to build it, right? Spending $250 a month on an option tool, this is going to eat your bottom line, right? It's going to eat your bottom line. So there's cheaper ways to learn some of these more advanced tools. But ultimately, when you grow your portfolio, just like Ology does, investing in yourself is probably one of the best things you can do with some of those profits, right? Whether it's, VectorVest or not, obviously I'm going to promote VectorVest because I've been here a long time. And I see the, not just the value, for lack of better words, but yeah, the value of it, right? The value and the care of the software, right? A lot of people, again, I use my mom. She's pissed off at her financial advisors. They messed up her Micron trade. So we're going to learn how to do it herself, right? And I've actually been thinking about doing a series of videos that are so elementary, so simplistic to a new person, not just to VectorVest, but to investing in general. It's a series literally aimed towards my mom, or anyone else that, wants to learn and has to start from scratch, right? Because I know a lot of my videos, they're not necessarily, I try to keep them simple, but I know sometimes, it can get over people's heads pretty quickly, right? It's okay. All right, let's get this one here. I'm broke, so options are not really my thing. I'm more into leverage ETFs and stocks. Instead, hey, I'm saying the options are not for everybody. It's okay. It is okay. Kara says she likes that idea. I just think it's a good idea, because that's one of the problems I have in my live streams is because, some people are brand new to VectorVest or investing. Some people have been doing this longer than I'm alive, right? So I try to make everyone happy, try to find that happy medium. That's why you see in my graph layout, I can get pretty technical, but ultimately I try to keep it pretty simple, right? I try to keep it pretty simple. Let's see here. All right, let's get to it. But coherent, that looks good too. That looks good too. All right. Hecla, SanDisk. It's still pointing me in the direction of value plays. Think about it. Value tech. This one here, what is it? Is this undervalued? Century Aluminum. Undervalued aluminum. Undervalued defense. Gold. Most of these gold stocks are going to be undervalued, obviously. Coherent. Let's see if this one's undervalued. That one's overvalued, so be careful of that one. We value at 144, and it's jumping up right now. So be careful of that one. But otherwise, I like the idea of undervalued stocks, right? I do. Gold. Let's wait till we get to the power hour at 2 p.m. We can go into more detail on gold. We got about 12 minutes left. Go and hit that like button. Actually, you know what? Since this is the last stream, I'm almost positive this is the last stream of the mobile hour again. It's going to be a little bit of change, but we're still going to have live streams throughout the week, all that good stuff. And ultimately, one thing I would like to do in 2026 is participate more in the community rooms when it comes to VectorVest. That's one of the reasons why I'm pulling back a little bit. We'll see. Oh, man, someone called me out for Data Vault. Let's see here. I told all y'all, I bought it on a live stream. I sold it on a live stream when the value dropped in the second shoulder, right? I traded the chart, not my heart. If you don't practice it, don't preach it, right? So let's just take a look at Data Vault. See if there's another trade opportunity here. Value, it's up 36%. What's going on with Data Vault? Anybody know? Anybody know what's going on with Data Vault? If I had to guess, look at that 200. We broke the 200. Simple moving average. Look for a rejection there. But look at this. Look at it. Interesting. Look at Data Vault. It stopped right at our value. Nice level support, stopped right at our valuation, right? So yeah, if I was a Data Vault believer, and I still am, and if I want to be a longer term investor, getting it, it's 88 cents now. Just be careful because I would look for rejection on this 200-day here. This little pink line. If we do get rejection, but again, look at the news here. Look at the news because something's going on. The stock's up 36% today. Again, I like tokenization. I see that as a huge thing here. But again, I said it before, between the head, the shoulder, the value dropping, and they have a Bitcoin treasury, which has been under pressure, right? Bitcoin. So yeah, I sold it. But hey, that's cool because I made about $1.50 something, sold at 210, I think, or 2 and some change. So about 60 cents, 70 cents on our, what, $1.50. I mean, that's almost what, 40%. Hey, and now the stock's a lot cheap. Oh, Poet. I was just talking about my cousin on Poet. I know it's speculative. I know it's way overvalued, so be careful. But it's a takeover target, and he actually did some research on it. He likes the company. He does like it. He actually did say the CEO is very smart. He's a CEO person. That's why I like Lisa Su, because he's under the impression that a CEO needs to be like an engineer, right? Because engineers for tech companies typically run a company better, right? It makes sense. But he liked it. He liked it. All right, let's get out of here. Let's do a watch list here. Oh, wait, no. My watch list. All right, let's get these stocks here. Let me see here. First 10 come across the board. Here we got Iron. Intel. GLW. PPC. HL. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to get all this cipher. CIFR. A lot of miners here. Canadian Natural Resources. Interesting. This Nut X, this new text here, that has been a phenomenal chart lately. Someone put in Ollie G, put in Poet. Can I load up on Data Vault? Ollie G, you're an adult. You can do what you want. But if you ask yourself, if you're a long-term buyer or trader, but if I'm a trader, I'm going to ride it up to at least a 200 day, see what happens, right? Because that's an easy place to see some rejection here. Now, if you're a believer in it, it's not far from our valuation, but just be careful because the valuation is ticking down too. It's ticking down. All right, that's it right there. There's 10. Let's do it. Let's do January 2nd. January 2nd. All right. Yeah. Click on this one here. All right. We just talked about that one. The valuation's climbing. Big bottom wick around this consolidation zone from these areas here. I like that one. Rising earnings per share. Look at all the moving averages here. If you look in the lower right of the graph, you can see they crossing in a bullish manner. I like this. Defense right now, undervalued defense. Hey, I'm here for it. FTAI, I see a breakout. You can see the breakout right here. Looks like you try to get a shoulder, a head, a shoulder, but no, sir, that did not come to fruition. We got a big breakout in this candlestick right here. Momentum still to the upside. We were getting some value. It's, but now a little overvalued, nothing too crazy. We're valuing what, around 190, 206. I like it. I will say, what is this little wick here? Looks like this wick got retested by this guy, by yesterday's bottom wick. So I do like that retest there from that swing high. A little sneaky retest, but a retest nonetheless. So I'm going to be optimistic in this one. AMD, not good. I got no problem saying that. Again, I trade the chart, not my heart. I love Lisa Su. I love AMD. Other than the Qs, it's probably the stock I've traded most options on. I say a lot of option trades on AMD. I don't like this big upper wick right at the 20 and right. So the body, look at this. Look at 3 months here. The body was at the 40. The wick's at the 20. That's not what I want to see. We see a lot of consolidation here, pretty range bound. But hey, the value's ticking up. So again, this was the OpenAI ChatGPT deal right here. We got a gap up from it. Look at this. Price action, doing a whole lot of nothing. Value's catching up, right? So if you're still holding AMD, we'll see what happens. But ideally, I want it like NVIDIA. I want it like Micron. I want undervalued, chasing value to the upside, right? Other than that, I'm not going to be bullish on AMD right now. I like the stock overall, but I see that rejection of that 20. That's not what I like to see there. Look at that value, though, creeping up. There could be some opportunities on AMD in the future. But right now, No. But if you're holding AMD, you can put your own stops. I'm not saying it's going to crash or anything, but I don't like that rejection at the 20 and 40 for sure. That's what the chart's telling me. NutX, ooh. This one was doing good. Let's go to 6 months here. We had a channel. We had a breakout of that channel. But look at the breakout. Right at the 20, right at the 40 here. And actually, look at this. We never really retested this swing high here. We got 1, 2, 3 candlesticks. What's the low here? This actually looks like a really good retest. It might go down a little bit more, but who knows what it's going to do. But I like this retest level. We're approaching it. The low is 148. What's the high here? 145. High here, 144. Yeah, 145. We're pretty close to that retest, and we got some moving averages there. So I got some hope on this one. So I want to be quick to, give up on it. Earnings per share is rising. Value's rising here. Buy recommendation still in place. Not even a hold yet. Here's Canadian Natural Resources. This one's all over the place. Not going to lie. I don't know if you're trading this or buying it. What I do like, so again, the power of value. You see price action dropping, value dropping, overvalued, right? But now it's overvalued still, but now I'm getting life and value in the right direction. I've talked about this many times when it comes to bottom fishing. Focus on the value, right? Focus on the value. But also the earnings per share is dropping. So it's kind of all over the place. So I'm not going to give you one way or the other on this one. But I see the bottom wick on that 20. Actually, it's on the 40 today. That might be a nice pivot. Yep, looks like a nice pivot there on CNQ. So I want to be too bearish on it right now. GLW. Breather. Look at this. The technicals taking a breather. When I say breather, I usually mean like range bound, consolidation. There's all kinds of little terms I could use. But that value, it's just overvalued. So me personally, I need value to catch up. Price action, not doing a whole lot right now. So yeah, I'm not going to be, too optimistic on it. I'm not going to say it's pulling back, but I wouldn't be surprised that, just needs a breather in the technicals. Let the fundamentals catch up, right? Let that value catch up, which it's moving. I mean, it went from what, $40 now to 60. So it went up, 100% or sorry, 50% on the last 6 months. So it's moving. Just the market's pushing the stock faster than its valuation. So be careful. Here's Pilgrim's Pride. This is a perfect example here, right? Value dropping, price dropping. Talking about this on the a lot, right? So as far as technicals, yeah, you can see a range bound, so breaking this resistance obviously would be the confirmation to look for. I see 200 right around 44, so that would be nice. But the value is just dropping and dropping and dropping. So I don't know if I'm getting a good deal on that or not, right? I want value to either flatline or start moving to the upside. Start moving to the upside, right? We'll see. But yeah, I want to see life in that value because the price is just channeling right now, right? But look at the earnings per share dropping. Not necessarily the candidate I would like to see, right? All right, here's iron. Looks like we're getting right back up. Let's see here. 3 months. We shall see. We broke the 50. We broke the 40. Never retested it. You see the 50 and 40 coming in. We'll see. Valuation, I loaded up here. I think it was that day or the day after for my 2026 portfolio. I do like the fact that we've got a higher low. So what do we need? We need a higher high, right? If I get a higher high, it's really showing me that this trend might be turning around, right? And I've seen all the valuations of some of the other data minus center places. This one was one of the closest when I did the video, right? It was a couple weeks ago when I said utilizing value, makes sense of some of these AI data center plays. We'll see what happens here. I'm not quite sold on it because that's the consolidation, just going back in the consolidation right now. But look, rising earnings per share, everything else is like it. Is SMCI garbage? I haven't even looked at SMCI in a while, Ollie G. So we'll see. We'll see. But this one I've got some, hopes for. Obviously, it's in my portfolio. I've done quite a few videos on it. Intel, I'll put it like this. Intel is one of the holdings in my cousin's portfolio. I just think it's got too many reasons for it to fail. Too many reasons for it to fail. We'll see what happens with Intel. But NVIDIA, the government, AMD, TSM, they're all trying to bring Intel back, right? They're all trying to bring Intel back. See your Cypher. We've lost the 40 and 50. I see a 200-day here, and it's overvalued. No. I don't like this one. You need to hold these swing lows here. The support, if that breaks, you're going to have another new low, and that downtrend has been confirmed even further, right? All righty, it's 1 o'clock. Look at that UAMY question mark. We just looked at that one, but we're going to take a little bit more in-depth look when we get to the software here. But I do want to take a look at SMCI real quick. Usually Amir is the one. Where is Amir? Usually she's the one who tells me. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Overvalued. What happened to the valuation? Oh! Don't say that value ain't worth the VectorVest subscription. VectorVest, that value alone, the value alone is worth the VectorVest subscription. On that note, I got an hour to get ready for the power hour. See you guys in just a bit, all right? Take care. Bye.